do you see more of in yourself, your father or your mother?
Well, it's interesting. When I was, boy, I never thought of that, really. When I was growing up, looks-wise, I looked like my mother. People used to tell me, I don't really know what I look like, but I looked like my mother, and now, as I'm older, now I look like my father, I think, but I'm really not sure. But as far as personality, I've got a bit of both, I think. I mean, you know, my father was only around for 8 years, so I really didn't get the full bogey of him. But, you know, my mother talked to me about him and told me how he lived his life, and that's kind of the way I've tried to at any rate. Do unto others as, you know, and the golden rule and all that sort of stuff. And, you know, my mom was, as a mother, you know, she was very forthright when I was growing up. And so but I'm probably not. I'm probably more laid back than that. You know, I grew up in the '60s and the '70s, and it was like that. You know, so I'm more like that. I'm not as driven as she was. But you know, I have 3 kids, just like she had. I guess that's something. And they've not been to jail or anything.
That's not very noir.
They finished college. I'm very proud of them.
Now, I'm going to make a very smooth transition here. When you were growing up in the 60s, I remember like all of the Bogart stuff, you know? I mean, even the fact that Bogart became like a verb for doing certain things with your dope, right? It's like,
yeah. Absolutely.
And there were the big life-size posters, walls, you know, door-size posters of Humphrey Bogart and all this kind of stuff, which I'm sure the estate never got anything out of, right?
No, they're really, you know, my mother had the rights to my father's name and likeness, and really we never pursued anything like that for the longest time. And then she gave them to me, and I joined forces eventually with Robert, who you know, as my co-managing partner. And
that's Robert DeClercq, who's standing right over there.
That's his daughter. That's why she's clapping.
He's got a big family. That's
yeah, he's got a big family.
A
couple of applause. But I thought it was important. First of all, you really got to, especially nowadays, make sure that you keep tabs on what people are doing, because they will do anything. Believe me, anything with anybody to make money. And I can see the make money part, but you really have to control things and keep the image in mind. And I think, you know, my friend Ty Power, I don't know if he's sitting in the audience, but he's coming tonight. And there he is, Ty. And Carla, right? Not my Carla, another one. But he's faced with the same issues that I have. That's Ty Power's son.
Wow.
And
ladies and gentlemen, Tyrone Power's son is in the house tonight.
And a friend of mine.
I just introduced your dad's greatest film the other day at TCM, Nightmare Alley. I love that movie. Yeah.
And so there's a legacy, and you have to, you know, it's like anybody you want to make sure your parents are portrayed in the right way. Yeah. And nowadays it's almost impossible with all the computer stuff, and I'm not bad at it. I'm not as good as the kids, but I'm okay with it. But there's just so much to keep track of. The Twitter and Facebook and Snapchat and Instagram and.
Well, I'm going to tell you that I'm thrilled that you decided to come out. If you're going to do anything to brand the Bogart name with, it's like, yeah, booze. Yeah, not bad. Good idea.
Well, yeah, that's the gin thing. And it's, we were lucky enough to be able to join forces with John Paul DeJoria, who is the guy, he didn't do bad in his life. He started Paul Mitchell, and he started Patron. So he knows what he's doing. Yeah, right, exactly. He knows what he's doing business-wise, and he spearheaded the whole thing. But the key to me was always, it's got to be good. It's got to be really good. If you're going to make the gin, make it really good. And this is really good. I don't really drink, but everybody who likes gin, and I assume there are a lot of you here, This is really tremendous gin, and it's made by the same gin maker that makes the gin for the Queen of England, and she has a few pops too.
Okay,
so.
stop talking about the gin. You're making me thirsty, and we still have a movie to watch, which
The movie,
which I
right.
want to get to, because this is what I find so interesting about what the Bogart Estate decided to do, and to help tell this story. He's not paying the slightest bit of attention right now, but I do want to bring up the writer and director of the film that you are about to see, This Last Lonely Place, and who is going to tell the tale of how the Bogart Estate is now involved in film production.
And I'd also like that you can introduce him.
Yes,
like
ladies and
Hollywood
gentlemen,
writers.
Mr. Steve Anderson, yes.
Buddy. I'd also like to say I'm very proud that I just got married for the third and final time to my wife Carla over there, who's turning around. There she is, she's waving. And so I'm very happy and proud about that. And we had planned it before my mother died, and we just decided to continue with it because she loved Carla, which is, she didn't like a whole lot of my girlfriends or my wives. But she really loved Carla, so I really needed to mention that. But now we're here to see the movie as well.
And all I'm going to say, and let Steve
And it's really good.
tell this
I've seen
tell this tale, is that I'm just really thrilled that I really didn't know Steve before this film, but he has been a regular at the Noir City Film Festival for years, and it was, I do get a lot of people who send me films and say, is there any possibility you'd show this at your festival, and blah, blah, blah. And Steve was very cool about it. He just said, I'm working on this project that you might like, and blah, blah, blah. And I will vouch for the film. This whole event is set up because Steve's film is really good. And I said, yeah, I would be happy to show that film. It's really cool. And then the Bogart connection is fascinating. So take it away, Steve. How did this all happen?
Well, first of all, we're thrilled to be here. So thank you all for coming, and thank you, Stephen, for flew from Florida. I had written a script about 2 years ago, and I had written the script to be a low-budget script that I knew I could do, pretty much by myself if I needed to for very little money. And at the time, I thought, I'm going to try Kickstarter. Now, we all know what Kickstarter is now. This was a couple of years ago. It wasn't quite as popular as it is now. And I thought, I'll try it and see how it will work. And so I asked for $75,000. I made a little trailer, a little video of myself asking nicely for the money in a forthright manner. About halfway through that campaign, I'd made maybe $5,000 or $10,000. I got an email from the Bogart Estate. It was actually from Robert, who's over there, and they had come across it. They're very good social media-wise. They have 300,000 plus Facebook fans, and in some way, they'd come across the campaign. The title is, of course, close to In a Lonely Place. It's a completely different movie, but it's a noir nod. And I met Robert for coffee, and the next thing I knew, they said they've been looking to try to get the Bogart name back into the film business in kind of a cool, modest, but kind of cool way. And they signed on as executive producers, and by doing that, and then going out on Facebook, that helped us cross the campaign line. We made $90,000. I'd put in a little money of my own and a little extra money. We made this whole movie for $125,000 in Los Angeles.
Yes.
And yeah, so it was a great night. There's a lot of people here involved with the film. Who worked on the film or was in it? Please raise your hand, and everyone give them a round of applause. Yeah. I'll point out Xander Berkeley, who's in the middle. He's one of the stars of the film. Stand up, Xander, just so everyone knows, or throw your hat in the air.
Yes.
I just want to give Xander a nod.
Xander Berkeley.
He's
Finally.
excellent in the film.
Finally, I see Xander.
Anyways,
He's a
that's
Facebook friend.
That's the origin story.
It's interesting. And I want to talk about the resurrection of Santana, because, of course, if you don't know, Santana Productions was Humphrey Bogart's own production company and made some absolutely fantastic films. And I will tell you, you don't know this, but In a Lonely Place, that's a Santana production that was made at Columbia, is my favorite movie of all time. That is flat out my favorite movie of all time. And I'm just curious why you decided that you wanted to get into the film business at this point, and just about the resurrection of Santana Productions itself. Can you just tell us a little bit about that?
Robert and I talked about it, and we kind of thought it was a natural progression. When Robert's my co-managing partner, he's over there hiding because he doesn't like to come up and talk to people.
He's tweeting.
No, yeah, he's right. He's tweeting. But he came to me and he said, you know, I think this is a great idea and a great time to do this. And I've always been for trying to figure out a way to help young filmmakers and old filmmakers who have good scripts that aren't $30 million scripts, because I've never really done this before. And so we thought it would be a great idea to bring back, first of all, I love noir. And second of all, that was a staple of my dad. And third of all, it was just important to me to allow people to make a movie that's not that expensive. I mean, 125 grand. And when you see it, the look of the film, it's phenomenal. And it's a wonderful movie, and everybody is so good in it. And bringing back Santana Productions was kind of a natural thing. You know, my father was an actor, my mother was an actress, and Santana was one of the first to have his own production company. And so it just seemed like a natural progression. And from seeing this film, it worked. It was a great idea, and I'm really glad that we did it. I should say that the Santana, the boat, is now owned by Wendy Schmidt, who used to be married to the Google guy. And she didn't buy it from us. I wish she had have, but she didn't. But I thought that's just the boat. That's kind of a side.
You see, that's the
side
difference
story
between being a movie icon and being a guy in tech today. You're Humphrey Bogart, or you're the Google guy.
But the Google guy is not doing bad.
He is not doing bad. He is not doing
Google
badly.
guy is doing quite well, thank you. There are a lot of famous people who wouldn't mind being the Google guy.
Or the son of the Google.
Or the son of the Google guy. You know?
I agree. I'll take Humphrey Bogart every time, though.
Well, me too, because if I wasn't, I wouldn't be here. So that's...
Okay, is there anybody else that anything else you want to say about the film, or that you would like to discuss before we actually let this fabulous audience see your handiwork, Steve?
I don't think so. I just hope everyone enjoys it. We think this is sort of the perfect audience for it. It is available already. To be completely marketing it, the DVDs will be available in the lobby. You can watch it online. But the great thing about film noir is if you make a good one, it immediately almost becomes an evergreen film, and it can be shown with other film noirs and fit right in. And we're really happy that our little film that we had, modest, great expectations, but modest hopes, modest budget, came out so well. And we're certainly indebted to Stephen and to Robert.
And to you, you did a great job, and everybody who was in it, they all did a fantastic job. It came out fantastic. I never think things are going to turn out well. I'm very cynical about that sort of stuff.
Okay.
But it was. He said, okay, that means I have to stop.
We should say, I just would like to say, we're very thrilled to show it here because it hasn't had a proper Los Angeles premiere, and it's as you'll see, a very Los Angeles film. One thing is we were very particular. The cab takes most of it takes place in a cab ride around Los Angeles, and it takes a very specific route, and we made sure that we shot on those streets. So most people around the country, they won't know the difference between Sunsets and Montana Avenue and Santa Monica, but those of you who live in Los Angeles and love Los Angeles, we wanted to just make sure that we were true to that. And I think a philosophy of that kind sort of guided us the whole way.
Fantastic. Okay.
Great.
Well, I want to thank Stephen and Steve for coming out tonight. And I really want to thank the Humphrey Bogart Estate for hosting this cocktail party that we're going to have afterwards with the Los Angeles debut of Bogart's Gin.
Yeah, it's PR.
I'm very happy
And the
about
Cinematheque,
that.
of course.
And it'll be fun because we'll all be around to take your questions and talk with drinks in our hand, which is like my favorite thing in the world. So thanks very much. Enjoy Steve Anderson's This Last Lonely Place.
Great.